By now, you watched, at least majority of you watched the Kamala Harris acceptance speech at the Democratic National Convention. I wanted to give my analysis. Now, I watched both conventions, or majority of the segments when they had the speakers. And I watched Trump's speech and the vice president's speech by the GOP, JD Vance, and also um, the Tim Walz vice presidential acceptance speech. So I want to move this light around so I get a little bit better. There we go. Um, I'm trying to make this, and I've stated this as much, as objective as possible. I'm not crazy about Kamala Harris. I think she did a really good job giving her speech. I'll get into that in a second. But what I'm saying is I try to be objective as possible. This is not a political blog, a broadcast. I try to analyze from a media standpoint, not provide analysis in terms of the policy speech and all that, but try to present it as terms of style and technique, that kind of a thing. I would hope that you folks did the same in your commentary. Put aside your partisan glasses, whether you're red or blue or in the middle, what have you. I'm just going to give you my thoughts and try to be as objective as possible. I thought she did a fantastic job. First off, something Trump did not do. What did he speak? An hour and a half? Remember the old saying, folks, brevity is the soul of wit. You keep it tight, you keep it crisp, and you keep it interesting. You don't go too long, especially speeches, especially in this world, where we have such a short attention span. We don't like to watch lengthy speeches, even the great orators, and those are far, far less than we used to have. So, and Trump, guy works in television, he's used to editing and all that stuff. He went on and on and on and on and on. There were times when he was funny, but just you can't go over an hour and a half, especially when you're trying to keep an audience, a primetime audience, interested. So from that standpoint, Kamala Harris did very well, and she's already, the early returns she had a 22% more viewers than did Donald Trump. So from that standpoint, she did very well. I thought the speech was great, great oratory. She's not that great of a speaker, but she did tell a story good. Her voice was in command. She didn't have that annoying giggle. I thought that she could have paused more, so let the people in the hall, the applause factor and all that. She kept talking through some time where she should have just shut up, frankly. She didn't do that, but that's a very minute form of criticism. She did very, very well. She gave a really good speech. And by and large, I think she accomplished. I'm sure her advisors would feel the same. One of the things I did, and I always do this, especially when you have such a partisan affair like a convention, whether it's the Republican convention or the Democratic convention, I immediately went to Fox News, and their commentators gave her a rousing thumbs up, especially of all people, Brit Hume, right? Dana Perino on Fox, and it wasn't that complimentary, but she conceded she did a good job. Brit Hume gave her thumbs up. The Brett Baer was very complimentary, and I've said this before, but Fox News, their news people are fairly legit, credible. It's their commentators, the Hannitys, Laura Ingrams, a few of their other people, the obnoxious judge, what the hell is her name? The Italian woman. She's crazy. But in any event, I don't even look at her or watch her. She's just so out of the crazy world. Pirro, Judge Pirro. Anyway, So they gave her high marks. And of course, I went to CNN. MSNBC was just real brief because I know they were going to be all gaga. MSNBC is like the Fox equivalent of they're just too predictable. They're over the top liberal, and Joy Reid is really a pain in the ass. But they have other people too who are just as heinous as Joy Reid. But I wanted to watch Fox. I went over to CNN, and they were good. But she did a good job. She did what she had to do. She appeared to be presidential. She gave a real good speech. Oratory was good. The technique was really good. She looked good. She looked like a president. Um, I wish we could have talked about all of this on here's my soapbox again, a news talk outlet in the Bay Area, but we couldn't do that. So I'm giving you my analysis based on what I saw, trying to be as objective as possible, which I think I am. I'm not a big uh, Kamala Harris person, right? Most of her Middle East policy, although I'll give her credit, she had a fairly good subject matter in terms of Israel, what she said last night. But I don't want to go into the subject matter. I'm commenting largely on her technique. And she covered all the, topics. She talked about various issues. Don't want to get into specifics, but I think what she had to do, she accomplished. She looked presidential. She was focused. She was short and concise, 37 minutes, just right, 37 and a half, just to be, on point and accurate. But it was a good speech. I think the hall, as it normally the case in these kind of partisan conventions, they were overly enthusiastic. But so were the Republicans. But she's got a big bounce. She's got a real big bounce. Some polls have her now at 10 percentage points, which was expected. But I think even the Democratic advisors and the pundits were even surprised that she did as well as she did. The first debate, I believe, is September the 10th, a Tuesday night. And I think that's going to be a whopper of a television event. Everybody's going to be watching because they're going to want to see Trump. They're going to want to see her. She is a very good debater. I'm no doubt you've seen her clip where she's on the Senate Relations Committee or the Judiciary Committee. And remember, they have the hearings with one of the Supreme Court nominees whose name escapes me. Was it the guy from Notre Dame, the guy that had an issue? What was his name? God, mind is going. Anyway, she's questioning this guy. Somebody will get it. And she gives him that sort of prosecution type of, inquiry. Brett Ashcroft, is it? Am I mixing up names? Anyway, you know who he is. And she did a good job. So I think she's going to, she does very, very well as a debater. Trump, with his laid back approach, but he's also in your face. I think it's going to be very entertaining. I believe 100 million, if not maybe 80 million Americans will watch this. It's going to be entertaining. And I think it's ABC has the first one on September 10th. That's a Tuesday night. I think they have one more on foreign policy. So we'll see. But anyway, my analysis of the Kamala Harris acceptance speech at the Democratic National Convention. Folks, please, if you can, make a contribution to my site. Watch me on YouTube and become a subscriber. Thank you.